All right, Class 1 is entering the ring. Class 1 Angus is entering the ring. Class 2 needs to be on deck.
Well, certainly a pleasure to be here with you at the Kentucky Beef Expo. Sort through your Kentucky-owned heifers been something I've been looking forward to since I got the call. I think an interesting class, Angus heifers, as we go ahead and get started. The female here that we go ahead and choose to start with, I think when she goes ahead and relaxes and gives you that look she's given right there, I think a female that combines a lot of positive traits. I think in terms of just foot size and shape and angles through her shoulder and her knee, I think that's where she can excel the class. She's long, extended, attractive up front, comes out of a long, level top line and hip. I like her body shape and her center rib dimension there, and a female still going away from you. Has some width at her pins, some squareness at her hock. I think a female that just adds up the most combination traits there to go ahead and start. The higher performing heifer, no doubt, is the young man's heifer coming in second here. Probably the biggest rib cage heifer of the class. Not as feminine up through her head and neck. Just like to change her skull shape and tidier there at her throat latch as much as anything. Just need to tweak and change the angle of her shoulder and knee as you read her there through her front skeleton, but no doubt a long level hip female that takes an attractive stride off her rear leg. Just got to tweak her up front and just make her a little more attractive there through her skull and her throat latch. A pair of greener set of heifers here coming third and fourth, and I think there's some trade-offs. I think the young man's heifer here is just a little more width, a little more power as you read her in there from behind. Attractive, high-tying heifer that gives you a good look. You like her in her center body. She's not as comfortable and relaxed there in her knee up front, not as square in her hock as she goes away. Same for the young man's heifer here. We'd want to just tweak her in her knee there, relax her in her angles up front, make her a little square in her hock as she goes. Not as big-bodied, not as powerful, but still one that gives you a nice look here from the side and a nice way to end out our first class. If you would, folks, let's put our hands together for these kids.
Results from Class 1 Angus heifers. First place went to Clayton Bell. Second to Camden Tingle. Third to Joe Braxton Baker. And fourth to Seth Chunglo. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now entering the ring, we have Class 2 Angus heifers.
Well, I think definitely a very high quality class with a lot of different decisions to be made, and I think depending on where you want to set your preferences, you could mix a few of these top enders up because I do think there's a lot of quality. I think the young man's heifer, I'll be the first to tell you, for me, I'd like to just power her up ever so slightly, but I think this look she can give you from the side when she goes ahead and relaxes and sets her top line down into her. I love her front 1/3, how feminine built she is. She's so attractive and neat and tidy about her throat latch and her chest floor. I think one that reads appropriate, the angle to her shoulder and down into her knee and her front foot. I think a female in motion. She's very comfortable, very relaxed, long-strided female. I love her balance and her look here from the side in terms of her center body, the way she ties her full rib into the back side of her chest. I think she's still square. She's still got some width up high. You could widen her at her hock and power her up ever so slightly when you get in behind her, but I think that's a high-quality female that gives you a killer look from the side, very mobile in motion. I think the young lady's ladies heifer coming next most closely follows our class winner. I'm not one to say they got to look exactly the same. We're going to pick quality for quality, but I like this heifer a good deal. She's one that gives you a killer look up front. She's so attractive and long and level out of her spine. She too square of her hip. For me, just right there in her forerib, right there behind her chest fore. Open her up, power her up. As that comes with time and maturity, I think that's a really nice heifer that's got a bright future ahead of her. I'm most drawn to the young man's heifer that comes in third in terms of her just overall skeletal width and foot size and bone. I love her body mass and her shape and her power. That is a little bit more my speed, I guess, if you'd want to peg that to me in motion. She's just a little more tight and rigid. Like to set her down in her tail head and just push her into the point of her shoulder and blend her a little smoother. But in terms of body and mass and foot size and bone, very drawn to that heifer. Just got to make her a little more comfortable and collected as we read her. The next young lady's heifer, another real stout, powerful female. You got to like her from a red meat standpoint and just body mass and power. Not quite as comfortable, not quite as attractive and feminine up through the shape of her skull and the base of her throat latch, but a female that's going to make a really good cow for this young lady as she goes on down the road. Another attractive made, long level hip type of heifer here. She's not quite as comfortable in motion up front. Just need to relax her there in her knee and make her a little more secure. Just make her a little more authoritative the way she uses her rear leg as we ask her to go around the ring. But a female that's got some body, got some shape and some look and balance here from the side. Just need to tweak her structurally to have her move on up. The young man's heifer that we wind out with, another easy keeping type of female that's got some shape and some power and some body. For me, we just need to tie her together a little smoother, tone her down in her tail head, make her a little more square and secure off her rear leg to be more competitive in this tough class. But nice class of heifers, if you would, ringside. Let's put our hands together for those kids.
Now entering the ring is Class 3. Results from Class 2. First place went to Blaine Smith. Second to Kat Branscombe. Third to Colby Cooper. Fourth to Jeannie Watts. Fifth to Katie Honeycutt. And sixth to Parker White. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Well, I think some challenges within this particular class. No doubt the two heifers that we start with are very high quality, and here at the stand can give you a very overwhelming look. Just to be straightforward with you, I'm very critical of structure, and we're going to stay that way all day. But I think both these two heifers could just be tweaked and changed as we ask them to go around the ring. But I think at the stand, no doubt, the more collected, more comfortable heifer is the one we're going to go ahead and start with. I think a female here at the stand, you love her rib shape back there into her rear rib and flank. A female, you get in behind her, she's got some pin width, she's got some shape, some width of skeleton, an attractive made female. Foot shape's good. The way her feet set to the ground is good. She's just a little tight and restricted. As we ask her to go, I'd like her to take a little longer stride off both ends of her skeleton, but still no doubt a high-quality female that gives you a very, very good look there at the stand. Same goes for the young lady's heifer in second. She's the higher-performing, heavier weight type of heifer. There's a little more to her, I guess you say, as comparison to the heifer that goes ahead and leads. For me in motion, she just wants to raise up there in her spine, wants to lift up in her tail head and duck down in her loin, just not as confident and comfortable there out of her front end skeleton. You gotta love her body shape, you gotta love her length and extension up front, make her a little more comfortable and a little squarer as she goes, and I think she rivals our class winner. I think a nice heifer to come in third, and she's maybe one that just doesn't overwhelm you in any one area, but I think a good made female that's complete in her own right. For me, we'd like to widen her up in her pins, make her square and more true as she goes off her rear two, but a good-bodied female that's got a nice look, going to make a good cow for this young lady. The young man winding out the class, another nice heifer. She gives you a good look here from the side. She's attractive, feminine, comes with some power. Just got to change the way she's built there and her top line back into her hip and just make her a little more attractive when she gets into motion, but nice class Angus heifers.
Now entering the ring is Class 4. Results from Class 3. First place went to Kat Branscombe. Second to Cheyenne Kaiser. Third to Lily Jeffries. And fourth to Mason Way. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Since we have a big class in the ring, I'm going to go ahead and announce our judge for the evening. Jared Arthur is a native Oklahoman and third-generation cattleman. Jared attended Oklahoma State University in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and started Lucky Strike Show Cattle, which he has owned and operated for the last 19 years. Jared focuses on providing high-quality show steers and heifers to 4-H and FFA exhibitors throughout the nation and has helped exhibitors see success at all levels. Jared raised the Reserve Grand Champion steer at the 2023 Oklahoma Youth Expo and the Grand Champion steer at the National Western Stock Show in 2018 and has sold Grand Champion steers and heifers at many other state fairs and national shows. Jared and his wife Blaine Arthur run around 200 purebred and club calf females and raise both fall and springborns in Oklahoma. Jared and Blaine have 2 children, Kelton and Kennedy, and they both enjoy showing cattle and being a part of the daily cattle operations. Please give a round of applause for our judge for the evening, Mr. Jared Arthur.
Well, a big class here, and I think a challenging class. I think there was no doubt that the young ladies heifer that we start with needed to win, and as we took those top 3 out and worked them back around again, it really wasn't a decision here on top. I think an attractive made female that gives you a good look. She's really big in her center body. I like the shape and set to her feet. I think a female that's very comfortable when you put her into motion, still got some power. She's on the upper edge of frame size for me. If you wanted to say you could moderate her a shot, but I think a high quality female that gives you a good look and still comfortable when you put her into motion. We worked this next heifer up quite a bit, and I think she's greener in her condition, and I'm okay with that. I like them fresh and youthful at this stage in the game. I think the longer she's out here, the more you study her. I think she's a very attractive female that's comfortable in motion. She's square when you get in behind her in motion. She relaxes her top line and picks her head up. She's not as massive and bold and pulled apart, so I guess that's the initial look you get, just to want to have to work her up some, but I think a very sound female that gives you a good look. The young man's heifer here, a Cali made one, and I think at the stand here gives you a cow-like look with some attractiveness and some balance from the side. In motion, she's not just as accurate about the way she uses that rear foot, maybe just wants to pick up in the middle of her spine, never so slightly, and that's why we worked her back down. Big, stout Cali one here coming next, and we could just make her a little more feminine up front and tidier there in her chest and blend her better in her forerib. But man, you got to love the body and mass and rib cage in this female. Step in behind her. She's got some pin width and some power. You like the shape to her feet. I think a female that is very cowy in her build, just need to make her a little more feminine, more attractive to be able to move up here in this particular class. Young man's heifer coming next. Another one that's very feminine, very attractive, just a little frailer in her feature. Like to just tie her there in her loin and tail head a little better in motion. A female that's not as massive in her body and her power as the heifer ahead of her, but still one that's got a bright future and gives you a good look when the young man gets her part. Then this next heifer here maybe just doesn't tie her pieces in quite as good as the heifers that are ahead of her. She's a female that's not as accurate and square about the way she uses that rear leg. Like to just pull her down in her center body and back into her flank, a little more cow-like in her appearance if you would, to move her up. But a female that's got some power and width when you get in behind her, got to appreciate her that way. A big-bodied, real cowy female here coming next, one that's just a little plainer in her overall makeup, maybe just doesn't hook up quite as nice there in her features, could tone her down in her tail head, but just a real cowy female that's got some foot size and bone, just maybe not as comfortable either when you put her in motion. And then the young man's heifer rounding out the class, 1-2 that's still pretty green. She's not attractive about her skull shape and the way she's built up front, not quite as attractive about her hip and hind leg there as you study her on the stand or on the move, but a female that's going to have a bright future for this young man. But put your hands together, if you would, folks, for a competitive class. Just a single entry here, but a high-quality female the young lady brings to us, one that gives you a good look here from the side. She's got some depth to her body. I like that depth back into her flank and the way she balances there in her underline. A female you get in behind her's got some power and got some width. I like her foot size and her bone there as you read her down to the surface. A nice female that we'll study a little more when we get her back out here in the champion drive, but congrats to this young lady.
Now entering the ring is our last class of Angus females. This is class 6. Results from class 4, getting caught back up. First place went to Michaela Jo Massey. Second to Taylor Jeffries. Third went to Luke Markham. Fourth to Austin Pito. Fifth to Tillman Durosset. Sixth, Austin Pito. Seventh went to Claber Wolf. Eighth went to Tanner Weinel. Our first place in class 5, the single entry class, was Lucy Jeffries. And once again, this is class 6 and our last class of Angus females in the ring right now.
Well, a good class and a very, very good pair on the top end of this class. And I think where this young lady's heifer excels is just in motion. I love watching this heifer go around the ring. She's so comfortable and relaxed and collected there in her spine. I love the size of her rear foot, all 4 feet, and just the shape to her feet, the way she can use them down to the surface, and you get past her structure, and she's a really big rib cage female that's opened up and dropped down there in her center body. I think a female that's very appropriate in terms of her condition. I wouldn't put any more on her, but I think she's still very fresh enough where she comes to us today. High tying, attractive made, still has some width. Just a hard female to poke a big hole in. Just really like the way that female can get out and go. High quality heifer here that comes next, one that has a lot to her. She's a female that's got some power and some width. Maybe just doesn't blend quite there through the base of her forerib and right back into her shoulder blade quite as nicely, not quite as opened up and cowy, I guess you would, in her build, but a female that's still very high quality, could tone her down and set her tail head into her hip there ever so slightly, but still a really good heifer here to go second in a competitive class. I think the next heifer coming out's a female on the stand here, gives you a lot of things to like about her. She's a high tie and attractive female that's long and level about her top line. She's big and opened up in her center body. A female here at that look gives you a very attractive look. In motion, she's just a little tight, little restricted. Need to free her up and allow her to use that rear leg more comfortably, set more securely there off her rear two as we ask her to go in motion. Needs to go third at the stand. You'd want to push her up there, rival those two that were ahead of her, but that's still a nice trio to start the class. The next heifer here, one that gives you a nice look, very thin neck there about her front 1/3. She's square about her hip, not as soft and opened up in her center body, just not as relaxed off both ends of her structure. To be able to move her up, just got to get more of her and make her more comfortable. A Cali made type of female that's just not as attractive in the way she blends her parts and pieces. Just want to change the shape of her feet and the way she's built there at her hind leg to make her more attractive in motion or at the stand. But a Cali built female that's going to be a low maintenance, easy keeping type of cow for this young man. And then the one that we wind out with, a female that's got some length, she's got some performance. I think in motion she's comfortable enough in terms of her structure. She just doesn't tie together those show attributes that we're looking for as far as up there through her front end and right back in the center body and rear flank, but still a female that's going to perform well for this young man long term. Let's put our hands together, if you would, for a high quality class.
Now in the ring, we are showing for our champion and reserve champion Angus female in our Kentucky Heifer show. From Class 1, we have entry number 437, Clayton Bell. From Class number 2, we have Blaine Smith. Class 3, Kat Branscombe. From Class 4, Michaela Jo Massey. From Class 5, Lucy Jeffries. And results from Class 6, our first place went to Josie Phillips. Second place went to Jacob Marksberry. Third to Brianna Smith. Fourth went to Katie Honeycuff. Fifth to Austin Pateau. And sixth went to Caden Hayes. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Once again, this is the drive for our Angus females.
Well, folks ringside, if you would, let's put our hands together for a really high-quality set of first and seconds in our Angus division. I know y'all got a big show tomorrow and everybody needs to get recuperated tonight and get ready for tomorrow, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time going down through and talking every one of them. I'm going to try to be very thorough in class and tell you what I see, and then we're going to keep it moving. I think a high-quality lineup, and I think there's obviously some differences, from our young heifer calf down to our fall in terms of size and maturity and weight. We're not going to really take that into consideration. It's just going to be the matter of which one's the highest quality, hardest to make, best heifer, in my opinion. So I think there's one out here to me that suits me very, very well for what I'm after. And then I think when we bring a second place in, I think it gets close. And there's quite a bit of differences in the two heifers that in my mind that'll be in contention for reserve, but I think both high quality. But one more time, put your hands together. We'll get you a champion Angus selected. Well, I'll just come to the mic here and kind of tell you my thoughts on this pair because I think they're quite a bit contrasting in type and kind. I think there is some nice heifers, and I'm not taking anything away from the heifers that are not in contention for me because I think they do a lot of nice things. There's maybe just one or two things about them that that we need to tweak or change to make them maybe more in contention here. But for me, it comes down to this young man's heifer out of the second class, and I think of the class winners, she's the most juvenile, she's the most immature, she's the greenest in terms of her condition. But when she starts to relax and you study that female, she's so true and so attractive up front, so long and level about her spine there. I like the shape to her underline for where she's at in her condition and her maturity. We talked about in class, we could power her up ever so slightly as you ask her to go away from you. But I think as time and maturity comes to her, I think those things can improve. One that just gives you a really, really good look here from the side, I think has a ton of potential down the road. And then the young man's heifer here that was second to our champion, I really am drawn to her mass and her power and her extra substance of foot and bone. You got to appreciate that width about that female. I think it's hard to make an Angus female with this kind of mass and power and still do it in a fairly attractive makeup. For me, I think you could just study her there from the top of her blade down there to the point of her shoulder and down into her toe. She's maybe not quite as correct in the angle of her knee as the way she reads out of her front end when you put her into motion, but one that you love the power and the added mass and bone and substance that she brings to you. So I think it's close. I think there's some calls you got to make, and it just comes down to maybe trying to read the most into them as we go down throughout the show year and come all the way around to next year. So put your hands one more time together. We'll get one more look and get you a reserve.
Congratulations to our champion Angus female. Out of Class 6, Josie Phillips. Your reserve champion Angus female was out of Class 2, and that went to Blaine Smith. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now we are starting a new breed. We're starting with Class 7 in our key breed. This is a single entry.
Nice single entry to start our key show. A female that offers you some depth of body and some spread to her rib cage there on the stand here. Can collect herself and give you a good look. In motion, she's maybe not quite as collected the way she uses both ends of her skeleton, but a female that's going to go out and make a nice cow for this young man.
Congratulations to Drew Tiehouse with his single entry May female. Now entering the ring, we have class number 8.
Well, just two in this class, but both very, very high quality females. They're both presented, shown very, very well. Makes my decision tougher out here because when the cattle are good and they're presented and they're shown to the level that these two are, it makes it fun. I think the young lady's heifer that we chose to start with, one that's just so wide out of the back side of her hip, and you study her true skeletal width, there's a lot to that heifer, and I think a female here from the side that gives you a very attractive, balanced look. I think she's correct in her angles. I think she's more comfortable when you set her into motion, the way she handles her top line and keeps herself collected. I understand the young lady's heifer coming in seconds, maybe not quite cooperating as nicely as I bet she would wish she was, but I think that's a close pair, and I think there's a ton of quality. I like her foot size and her bone. She's so up-headed and attractive. I like her ear set up front. Feminine built heifer with some extra power. The next heifer coming out, another one that's really high quality. She's long about the top side of her neck. She's good in her center body. She's a female that does have some bone and some width in motion. I know she's fighting the halter. She just wants to get up in her back, maybe not quite use those rear legs as square. I don't know that there's really a structure issue. I just wish she'd cooperate and settle in just a little better because that's a high quality pair of heifers.
Now in the ring, we have a single entry, Class 9. Results from Class 8. First place went to Laura Pettit. Second to Haley Pauley. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
A nice red heifer here is a single entry. Cowie Stout made one, female that's got some width and dimension to her as you get in behind her. Very attractive about her hind leg in motion or there at the stand. I think up front's where we want to change the heifer. We could just tweak her and change her there at her knee and her front toe and square her up and relax her in her angles up front. But a Cowie Stout made female for this young lady. As we work in our last class of key heifers, I think the young man's heifer has a significant structure advantage when you put the cattle in motion. She's one when she gives you that look right there. She's high tying, she's attractive, she's good looking, she balances up, she's got some width to her. I'll be the first to tell you I'd like to just pull her and yank her down in her center body and open her up there at the base of her rib cage. But one in motion and there at the stand gives you a very attractive look and just comfortable in terms of her movement. The young lady's heifer that come next does have that advantage in terms of center body depth and just overall mass in motion. She's just tight and uncomfortable, wants to raise up in her tail head and tighten there in her loin, but a long, attractive made, good-looking female for this young lady. Put your hands together for our last class of key exhibitors, please.
Results from Class 10. First place went to Tanner Wannell, and second place went to Madison Harris. Now in the ring we have our champion and reserve champion key drive. Next on deck we have Class 11 maintainers.
Well, let's start off by putting our hands together for our key and in exhibitors this evening. I think this has been a good division. I'll go ahead and be short and sweet. There was a pair of heifers that come out of this second class, and they excel this drive by quite a good ways. If you would, put your hands together. The young ladies out of the second class are going to have your champion in reserve.
Congratulations to your champion, key female, going to Lauren Pettit. Second place was also, or the reserve was also second place in that class, Haley Polly. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now we're going to be moving into maintainers. Coming in the ring now, we have class number 11.
Well, as we start working through our maintainers, a pretty obvious class winner for me in the young man's heifer that starts, a big-bodied female. You love the swoop to her underline, just the way she's built from forerib to flank there, and so attractive there in her underline balance. A female that's still attractive up front, comes with some width. Maybe not the biggest footed one as you read her to the surface, but still no contest here within this particular class in terms of just mass and quality. Young man's heifer has to start. I think it's close here, and you got some trade-offs I think you can talk your way through on these two heifers. This heifer at the stand probably gives you just a little more show ring type of look, long and extended, clean and attractive up front. I like her foot size and her bone in relation into the heifer that comes in second. We could just relax her in her spine and drop her in her center body to make her more competitive with our class winner, but a nice heifer. And then the heifer that we wound out with, one that's still got some power, still got some shape, just a little frailer in her bone work and her foot shape, just not as attractive in her lines as the heifer that goes out ahead of her. But put your hands together for these kids. They're working hard.
Results from class 11. First place went to Grant Taylor, second to TJ Wannell, and third went to Jensen Massey. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now in the ring we have class 12.
Well, I'm not sure which is cooler, the color of this heifer's head or this young man's hair, because that's a pretty close race right there. This young man's doing a good job and definitely looks the part out here, but a nice high-quality heifer that he brings to us. I think here at the stand, she relaxes. She gives you a very good look. I like her depth of body and her how open she is in the base of her rib cage, attractive up front, a female that comes with some power and some foot and bone, in motion, maybe not quite as collected and comfortable as some we've seen previous, but still a high-quality heifer there at the stand, gives you a very, very good look. A big-bodied female, that's another one that's attractive. She's tight in her throat latch, very feminine about her skull shape and her face there. A female that's long and level out of her hip, in motion. She's just a little inconsistent the way she sets her rear foot and leg down. We could change that about her to make her more consistent, would allow her to be more competitive within this class, because you love her rib shape and her attractiveness and her width. The baldy heifer, a long heifer that's got some length and some grow and some performance to her, just not as soft, not as opened up, not as massive there in her rib cage and her width from behind, but a female that gives you a nice look here from the side. Put your hand together for a good set of exhibitors, please. Nice sound structured single entry here for this young lady, a female that's got some length, and I like when you put her into motion, the reach she has off both ends of her skeleton. I think when you get right up on top of her and you study her rib shape out of the top of her spine and down into her center body, I think that's where we could tweak her and change her just to make her a little more competitive as we get her back out here and compare her to some others, but still a high quality heifer for this young lady.
Now entering the ring, we have our maintainer drive. Getting caught back up on results from Class 12, first place went to Andrew Ray, second to Micah Malone, and third to TJ Waddle. Class 13 was a single entry, and first place went to Micah Malone. Congratulations to all of our maintainer exhibitors. On deck, we have our Red Angus females. We need Class 14, Class 15, and Class 16 Red Angus to the makeup ring.
Well, if you would, let's start by putting your hands together for these maintainer exhibitors. These kiddos are doing a good job out here. I think there's some trade-offs here. To me, it comes down to our class winners out of our first and second class, not taking anything away from the young lady's third class winner, because that's a good heifer. We talked just needing to open her up in her rib cage just all the way through to make her maybe rival these other two heifers. But I think as you start to study these two heifers, they offer some similarities in terms of just their body and their rib cage. The young man's heifer up here to start, a female that gives you a very cow-like look here from the side, one that's very big and opened up in her body. We talked about how attractive she was in her underlying balance there out of the back of her chest and her forerib all the way back to her flank. She's a female to me. We could just tweak and change ever so slightly the angle up front when you put her into motion. I think at the stand it's still comfortable enough, not as big, and just the overall circumference of her hoof there as we read her to the surface. But I think by no means not too small-footed. We could just emphasize that there. But a female that gives you a good look. Young man does a heck of a job, and that heifer's presented very well. The young man's Brockle face here that came out of our second class, one that comes with more true width, more power, more mass when you get in behind the cattle. I like her, the way she's built in her bone and her footwork here as you study her down to the surface. You know, she's one in motion. And when she's wanting to fight this young man and she's throwing her head and switching her tail, she's just not maybe as comfortable in her spine. But then as she relaxes and goes ahead and gives up just a little, I think she goes ahead and goes out and lets that top line down and gets more comfortable in motion. No doubt I'm drawn to her extra power and mass that we have, and I think there's just some small differences in motion that we could tweak both of them. So I think it's close. I think that's a high-quality pair of heifers and some other heifers that were second. And like we said, our other class winners, a high-quality heifer as well. But I'll go out and take one more quick look. We'll get you a champion reserve and keep moving.
Okay, congratulations to your champion maintainer female, which went to Andrew Ray. And your reserve maintainer female went to Grant Taylor from Class 11. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now in the ring we have Class 14, Red Angus females. We have 3 classes of those.
Well, really smooth-made, feminine type of female to get us started here at our Red Angus show. One here that gives you a real look of femininity and balance. I think in motion, I think we could relax her off both ends of her skeleton and make her a little more comfortable as we ask her to go around the ring. But very feminine female for this young lady to get us started.
Congratulations to Madeline Ethington from your single entry in Class 14. This is a single entry Class 15. Next will be Class 16.
Well, young lady brings us a single entry that no doubt could stand quite a bit of competition. That's a high-quality Red Angus female, and I think it starts at the surface here at the chips. You read the angle of her feet and the angle of her joints. I think that part about her for this particular breed is very, very attractive to me. She's still a female that gives you some body and some shape here from the side and some width from behind. She's maybe not chiseled out there through her throat, but still very attractive and long and thin about the top side of her neck. That's a high-quality heifer for this young lady.
Results from Class 15. First place went to Haley Johnson. Now in the ring we have Class 16. At the conclusion of this class, we will be selecting our champion and reserve Red Angus female.
Well, I think a fairly logical class here as we wind up our Red Angus. I think a female here, just in terms of her hip and hind leg, I think she's the most attractive. She's the biggest footed. She's the biggest bone female, and it's not a matter of being the bigger bone one, just having more substance. No doubt her shape to her rear foot and size of her rear foot is what attracts me to her. She's got more true width and skeletal dimension to her as you get in behind the cattle and still gives you an attractive look here from the side. We could relax her in motion off her front end skeleton and allow her just to reach there out of her front end just a little truer and a little further out there on her front toe, but a female that offers just that extra power and foot size and bone. The heifer coming next, a big-bodied female that gives you a nice look here from the side, not as attractive in the way she's built in her hock and her rear foot, a little longer toed, shallower hilled type of female as you study her there at the surface, but another one that's got some body, got some balance and some look here from the side. The young lady's heifer, a long, skinny neck female, if you would, female that's got a lot of length of body. We just got to change the way she's built off both ends of her skeleton, relax her and make her more comfortable in her hock and the angle of her shoulder up front, but one that can give you a really nice look from the side here. Well, if you would, again, let's put our hands together for our Red Angus exhibitors out here with our first and second places. This has been a good drive, but I'll tell you, there's one out here to me that just takes it to another level in terms of just overall quality and structure and build. The young lady's heifer out of this second class, that's an awful good Red Angus heifer. She's going to have your champion. The young man out of our third class with the extra power and foot and bone, she'll follow her up to be reserved. Let's put our hands together one more time, folks.
Congratulations to your champion, Red Angus female, Haley Johnson, out of class 15. And your reserve champion went to Caden Kephart out of class 16. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now entering the ring, we're starting a new breed with our Shorthorn heifers. This is class 18.
Well, as we get started in our Shorthorn show, I think a pretty logical place with the young man's roan heifer. I think in motion, she's as comfortable as any of them and does that with some added substance afoot. She's a female that gives you a nice look here from the side. I think when you study her center body and just the spring to her rib cage, I think she has just a little bit more to offer in that regard. A female that maybe doesn't have a big hole, doesn't wow you, but a female that's complete and sound in her overall kind. I think the next most correct structured heifer is the red heifer that comes in second. I think she's very attractive about the way she uses both ends of her skeleton. She's a smooth-made female that blends her parts and pieces very nicely. You know, she's not as powerful, she's not as opened up there at her foot as you read her to the surface, a little frailer in her makeup, but a female that's sound structured, complete in her makeup, and gives you a nice look here from the side. The roan heifer, I'm drawn to her at a stand in terms of just power and mass and width and look. She does some really neat things in motion. She's too inconsistent. She's not as comfortable and accurate about the way she uses both of her ends of her skeleton. She's a stout-made female. Just need to relax her there in her spine and make her a little more comfortable. Doesn't help the way she's acting today. That'll get better, but I do like her added power when you get in behind her. The roan heifer winding up, one that's long and gives you a cool look up front. I love her ear placement in her head, the way she's made up front there. A female, to me, she's just a little upright on both ends of her skeleton when you put her in motion and doesn't have that overall spring and capacity to her center body, but one that gives you a really nice look here from the side.
Now entering the ring is class 19. Results from class 18. First place went to Eli Thompson. Second to Davey Thompson. Third to Wesley Alsip. And fourth to Bailey Kelly. Congratulations to all those exhibitors.
Nice pair of heifers here in our next class of Shorthorns. A really long, extended type of female here that comes in our first class or first place. A female that gives you a good look here from the side in terms of her balance and her swoop to her underline and her look here from the side. I think correct enough in terms of her structure and gives you a very nice look here from the side. The red heifer comes in a little bit more moderate package, and I do like that about her. She is just a little compact. I'd like to lengthen her and square her there out of her hip and maybe just make her a shot more feminine about the shape of her skull, but that's still a high quality female for this young man.
Results from Class 19. First place went to Reed Graves and second to Lakin Martin. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now in the ring we have Class 20. On deck we have Class 20A.
Well, a real high quality set of Shorthorn heifers in this particular class, and I think the young man's red roan heifer here gives you a really good look from the side. I think her balance and her overall proportions are very good. She's attractive and neat and fresh about her front 1/3. I think in motion she's squarer and truer about the way she goes off both ends of her skeleton. Maybe not quite as just wide right at her pins when you get in behind her as the heifer that comes in second, but still plenty of width in her own right. A female that's very attractive here from the side. The young lady's heifer that comes next, maybe a little more compact in her package as far as the way she comes, but a big-bodied female. I like how much power and width she has when you get in behind her. I think in motion she's just a little more tangled up in her rear leg when you get in behind her. I wish she'd just be a little truer and squarer as she goes, but that's still a high-quality, powerful female to win out this class. Just single entry here, but young man brings us a nice red heifer that balances up and gives you a good look here as we read her from the side view profile and step in behind the cattle, and she is very powerful, very wide in her skeleton, one that offers you a lot of extra mass. You know, get in behind them as she goes away from you. She wants to roll on her outside hoof wall and push her hock to the outside of her body wall. That's where I'd be critical of her and change her, but a stout, massive made type of female here for this young man.
Getting caught back up on our results in our Shorthorn division. In Class 20, your first place went to Lane McCall. Second place went to Amanda Purvis. Class 20A was a single entry, which belonged to Nate Ruard. Now in the ring, we are going to be selecting our champion and reserve champion Shorthorn female.
Well, another nice lineup out here for champion Shorthorn. Let's go ahead and put our hands together for these kids as well. I think as we look down through our class winners, I think there's one heifer that sticks out pretty easy to me as far as just combining structure and body and balance and femininity. The young man's roan heifer here that circles, he's going to have your champion. Let's put our hands together. We're going to pull that second in and take a little closer look for a tighter race for reserve.
Congratulations to our champion Shorthorn female. That entry belonged to Lane McCall. Your reserve champion Shorthorn female went to Amanda Purvis. Congratulations to those individuals. Coming in the ring now is Shorthorn Plus.
With just a single entry as we start our Shorthorn Plus show, but a really stout-made female here that we use to win this class. A female that offers a lot of shape and bone and mass and power. I think a female that gives you an attractive look. And I know this young lady's having a hard time, but she's doing a heck of a job out here staying with it. A female, I think, in motion, we could just change her and tweak her, make her a little more comfortable as we ask her to go around the ring. But gotta really appreciate the extra power. Let's give this young lady a hand for staying hooked.
Congratulations to our single entry, Class 21, Emery Burnett. Now in the ring we have Class 22, Shorthorn Plus females.
we place these like they came in, but the black heifer that leads off one here at the stand can give you a really good look. She's very high tying, attractive about her front end, very feminine up front there, a female that's got some added substance of foot and bone. I think her underlying balance and the shape to her rib cage is attractive. She comes with just more true width and skeletal dimension as the heifer that comes in second. Now, I'll be the first to tell you, I think we could change the way she uses her rear leg and just pull her in as you get in behind the cattle, wants to just set them to the outside of her body wall when you ask her to go away, but she still takes a long stride, and I think her angles read good enough as we put her on the stand. The young lady's heifer that comes in next is probably got just a little more comfortable set to her rear leg. It's not as attractive maybe here at the stand, but one that's got some reach. You like the set and angle to her foot and her pasturing down low. A female that's got some added body. She's just a little inconsistent and maybe not quite as true and accurate the way she goes off those rear two, a little tangled up, if you will, not as stout and powerful, but a big rib female that still takes a long step and sets down on her good foot. The yellow heifer coming in here next, just a little greener in her overall condition and her body. Just need to soften her up and mass her up there in her center body in relation to her chest and where her sternum sits, but a female that's got some foot and bone, got some length and some grow to her.
Results from Class 22. First place went to Brooklyn Thomas, second to Lindy Kaiser, and third to Bailey Kelly. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now in the ring we have Class 22A, a single entry.
Young ladies, red and white heifer here in our last class, one that you appreciate from just a width standpoint. She's got a lot of shape, a lot of power, and a lot of mass to her as you get in behind her, and still can pick her head up out of the top side of her shoulder and give you a nice look here. In motion, we need to change the way she sets that foot down to the surface, make her more comfortable there off the rear end of her skeleton. Could just soften her up and pull her down in her center body, but a female that does come with a lot of added power. Well, I think a nice lineup here for your Shorthorn Plus division. I think there's one heifer that maybe just ties a few more of the things we're looking for today as far as just femininity and the way she balances and lines up. The black heifer is going to be champion. The stout maid heifer is going to be reserve.
Congratulations to your champion Shorthorn female going to Brooklyn Thomas, and your reserve champion Shorthorn Plus female, excuse me, that was a mistake. Your champion Shorthorn Plus female went to Brooklyn Thomas, and your reserve Shorthorn Plus female went to Emery Burnett. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now entering the ring, we're starting our Simmental division. This is class number 24.
Well, a really nice single entry here to start our Simmental show. I think a female that comes with a lot of added body and center rib here for her age and maturity. One, you read her to the surface there. She's got some added foot size and some bone to work with as well. One that gives you a good look here from the side. I think as you study the angle of her shoulder and knee up front might be where you want to get critical of this female, but I still think comfortable enough in terms of her structure and gives you a very good look.
Congratulations to Grace and Ruber for their single entry in class 24. Now in the ring we have class 25 Simmental females. Attention to all of our exhibitors in the Kentucky Heifer Show, and this goes for the show tomorrow as well. If you know that your class is coming up, please make your way into the West Hall. Please do not just stand in the breezeway. We need you all the way in so that you can make your class. Thank you.
Well, I think it's fairly close on this top end because there's quite a bit of trade-offs. I think the female that we choose to start with, she's just a little denser in her overall build. I think there's a little more true skeletal width. I like her foot size and her bone, and you put the cattle into motion. She's very relaxed and comfortable, and that's probably her advantage, just the way she can reach and set down off both ends of her skeleton. I think a female that you could just drop her down in her center body in relation to her chest is compared to ideal, but still a female that comes with some extra width and power and still attractive enough in her build. The ultra feminine type of heifers, the baldy female here at the stand, when she gets her parked, she can give you a really nice outline. You love her face, you love her up front, how attractive and neat she is and high tying. She's just a little frailler in her overall makeup. If we could just mass her up and give her a shot more substance as you read her down through her lower leg, I think that's a high quality female that gives you a really good look. The black heifer here next at the stand could make an argument to go ahead and be second because she does have the extra body and mass that we're looking for and still does it in an attractive package here when he gets her parked and gets that head up in motion. She just wants to be a little high in her spine there and a little rigid off her rear too when you ask her to go. If we could just relax her in her back and make her a little squarer and truer off her rear too, I think that could move her up in this class because at the stand, a high quality female. And the baldy heifer heifer here that wounds out another one that's got some width, got some mass, and some dimension. Maybe just doesn't blend quite as smoothly there through the base of her forerib and the backside of her shoulder blade into her chest. Maybe just not as comfortable off her rear skeleton and her hip and hind leg, but still a long-sided female that'll go out and make a good cow for this young lady.
In the ring now, we have Class 26 Simmental females. Results from Class 25. First place went to Shelby Hopperton. Second place went to Jenny Watts. Third place went to McCall Creek. And fourth place went to Avery Oliver. Congratulations to all those exhibitors.
Well, a pretty dominant class winner here in the young ladies' red baldy. One that here at the stand just gives you a killer outline. I like how attractive and feminine she is about her head and neck. A very, very pretty female up through her front 1/3. A female that, she's not just massive in her center body, but everything proportions right. She's got some swoop. She's got some depth there to her center. Balance is very, very good. A female that's got some power. I think in motion, very comfortable, but very, very obvious place for me to start within this class. I think the next females, you could toss them around. No doubt the next Callius one is the young lady here that's doing a heck of a job getting this heifer showed. She's not as attractive and feminine there at the shape of her skull and the base of her throat and the forward part of her chest, but a big-bodied female that takes a big, long, soft step. Just need to make her a little more attractive and tie a little neater up front to rival the baldy. And that's where the baldy heifer that comes next does excel her. She's very thin and long-necked up front. Female, you like her center body and her openness to her lower rib cage. A lot of spring there to the lower part of her body. A female, I think, that's sound enough in terms of her structure, just maybe doesn't tie it all together. She's a little drier and harsher in her forerib, doesn't set her tail head down quite attractively to the backside of her hip, but a big-bodied, attractive one. A little plainer featured Callier built one here that's she's attractive too in her structure. Just need to clean her up and lengthen her up front to make her a little more competitive. And the black heifer here that winds out the class, she's just a little straight off both ends of her skeleton, but can give you a long, attractive, good look up through her front 1/3. Not as soft there at the base of her body and back into her flank, but still a nice heifer in her own right. Well, young man, September Heifer here that winds out our Simmental show. I think a high-quality female that does some nice things. I think she's got some extra width and power. When you step in behind the cattle, she's wide about her hip and got some expression from in behind. Still does it with an attractive look. Maybe just a little drier and harsher right there behind her chest fore and into her forerib and flank, but a female that still gives you a good look and I think's comfortable enough in motion.
Getting caught back up on our results in the Simmental division. First place in Class 26 went to Ashlyn Pop. Second to Sadie Jackson. Third to Levi Clubb. Fourth to Caroline Maines. And fifth went to Blake White. Congratulations to them. First place in Class 27 was a single entry, Brady Applegate. Now entering the ring, we have our drive for our Simmental heifers. The judge will be selecting champion and reserve champion Simmental female.
As we get our first and second place class winners, respective seconds out of the Simmental division. Folks, let's put our hands together for these kids for doing a good job and working hard out here. I'll be the first to tell you, I don't know if there's one that just structurally hits me as ideal as far as comparing them back and forth to each other. I think there's some small tweaks that we could change about each one of them that way as far as the ones that are a little bit more in contention. I think there's one that just takes it to a little higher level in terms of her overall look and balance and attractiveness here from the side and does it with some extra width. The young lady's red baldy circling's going to be your champion, and we're going to come back to this young lady here for reserve.
Congratulations to your champion Simmental female going to Ashlyn Pop. And your reserve Simmental female went to Grayson Ruber. Congratulations to both of those exhibitors. Now entering the ring, we have Class 27A. This is a single entry and the start of our percentage Simmental female show.
As we get started on our percent Simmental show, just a single entry with the snip nose heifer, one that's really big in her body, and you have to appreciate that here from the side. Obviously, she's maybe a rookie at this and not cooperating quite as good, so a little tougher to get a perfect read of her structure. She's probably not as ideal in terms of the set to her rear leg and the way she goes. A little harder to get a perfect read on it, but a big-bodied, good-looking female here to start our percent Simmental show. As we work through this second class, I think there's some things structurally we could tweak about both heifers, but no doubt the higher quality female here is the young man's baldy that we lead out with. A big centered one that's opened up and cracked apart in her rib cage. She's got some extra shape and width when you get in behind her and still does that with an attractive fresh front end. I think in motion. She's a little tight and restricted off her rear too, but can still take a long step. Just wish she set down a little more comfortable and a little more accurately. The baldy heifer here maybe just doesn't tie together her her pieces quite as nice. She's still a good-looking, up-headed female that's got some rib shape, just a little plainer in her construction, not near as soft and opened up in her center body, and could change the way she sets her rear foot down to the ground.
Results from Class 27B. First place went to McCall Creek, and second place went to Colton Kearns. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now in the ring we have Class 28 of our Percentage Simmental show.
Well, I tell you what, folks, if you would ringside, let's put our hands together. By far the deepest, most competitive class that we've had through here today, and not taking anything away from these other heifers on this other side, because there is a lot of quality all the way through, and even the young man that winds out the class, that's a useful cow-like type female. But there's no doubt there's some stingers in this class, and the young lady's heifer that we start with, she just combines those traits that we're looking for. I think it's hard to make Simmental cattle have this kind of balance and that kind of softness of structure and foot size and set to that rear pastern and hind leg, and then do that with a neat and attractive, tidy, fresh front end. I love her head shape. I like her jaw. I like the top side of her neck. And then she does that with a bold body shape, some pin width, some mass, and she's very square and true off both ends of her skeleton. That's a hard female not to like. I don't care how you like them built. Now these next couple heifers, 2 or 3 heifers here, I swapped them around, and I think as we took that last lap, this young lady's heifer that comes second, she's the bigger framed of the next heifer, and that doesn't really have anything to do with my decision. As you ask the cattle to go in motion, she is square and truer. The way she goes off her rear hock and hind leg, she keeps her hock set square. She's a female that gives you an attractive look. She's big in her center body. She gives you a good balanced look here from the side, and then does that with some added width and power, and I think that's where she has the advantage. Getting in behind her, she's stouter, she's wider, and she's square as you get away from them. Now, no doubt, when this young lady, she does a heck of a job. This heifer's highly presented and highly shown, and when she gives you that look, it makes it very challenging to put a heifer like this third in class, because no doubt her balance and look here from the side is very, very attractive. Her angles read very, very good. She's a female that you have to like here from the side. In motion, she just wants to get a little close and a little tangled up from behind. If we could just square her up in her hock and just get her a little wider off her rear too as she asks her to go, I love her look from the side and her balance. The next heifer coming in, she's one too that when she parks and throws them ears up like that right there, she gives you a really, really good look here. She's not as massive in her body and her forerib and her flank, maybe not as attractive in her foot shape and the length to her toe, but a female that gives you a really good look. I thought deserved to get out there with that last group and get another look. Just maybe need to square her up and just tie her together a little better to rival those top end. Big bodied, stout one coming in next. It's a little more moderate in her frame. She's not as attractive about the base of her throat and up through her front end, but a female that's got some power and some durability. Just need to clean her up and tie her together a little better. Baldy heifer coming next. Big bodied, massive cowy one. Got to change her structurally. Allow her to go off better off her rear too and be more comfortable and secure there at the surface. But a female that's cowy and going to be a good brood cow for this young man. Same goes for the baldy, a big bodied one that needs to be a little squarer in her hock and a little truer in motion. The young man's baldy, another one that's big body, just doesn't maybe tie together quite as square and true, but gives you a good look up front. And then the young man that winds out the class, still a useful, long-sided, easy-keeping type of female, just maybe not the show ring appeal in terms of her look and bone, but a heck of a class for these young folks.
Congratulations to our results from Class 28. First place went to Josie Phillips. Second to Anna McCord. Third, Samantha Pico. Fourth, Haley Pauley. Fifth to Madeline Strain. Sixth went to Austin Pateau. Seventh went to Sadie Jackson. Eighth to Lance Jeffers, and ninth went to Owen Oliver. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now in the ring we have Class 28A.
Just two heifers in this class, but an attractive female here on the stand that can give you a really nice look when she's parked. You like that swoop and lower body shape that she offers. She's attractive and feminine up front. A female, we just like to trim her feet and shorten her toe and maybe square her hock up as you read her here from the side. But I think a female that gives you the most ideal look in terms of a show heifer build that's got some shape and power. The black heifer here coming next, she probably is a little more comfortable off her rear foot and probably a little more appropriate in the shape to her rear foot. Just in her top line doesn't tie together quite as smooth there through her loin and tail head, but a big-bodied female for this young man.
Results from Class 28A. First place went to Amelia Gripshover, and second place went to J.J. Jackson. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now we have a single entry, Class 29.
Just a single entry here for this young man, but a female that's complete in her own right. I think the female that just, she's got a nice look, she's got some body, she's got some width. I think she's sound enough in her structure, maybe doesn't just wow you in any one area, but a nice complete female for this young man. Just a single entry in the red heifer here, alongside-it, attractive, up-headed female. Maybe not as just opened up in her rib. You stutter out of the back side of her spine and just into the lower side of her rib cage. We'd like to open her up and change her there, but a female that gives you a nice look here from the side.
Congratulations to Levi Club with his single entry from Class 29. And to Oliver Gripshover from his single entry in Class 30. Now in the ring we are selecting for percentage Simmental champion and reserve champion female.
Well, please put your hands together for our percentage Simmental first and second high-quality lineup of cattle. There's a lot of quality down through here, but I'm not going to be bashful about it. There was a class that I thought was very competitive and very deep, and a heck of a set of them on the top end, so we'll go ahead and keep her moving. Young lady out of the third class is going to have our champion, and we'll follow up with the second place behind her for reserve.
Congratulations to your champion percentage Simmental female, going to Josie Phillips, and your reserve came out of that same Class 28 from Anna McCord. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now coming in the ring, we have Class 31. Class 31, and we are starting our Hereford Heifer show.
Just a single entry to start our Hereford Heifer show. A young lady brings us a really attractive little green immature heifer. I think a heifer that's going to have a bright future. She gives you a really good look here from the side, and I think in terms of her foot and skeleton, I think attractive in that regard too, but just a high quality way to start our Hereford show.
Results from Class 31 was a single entry, Emily Tabor. Congratulations to her. Now in the ring, we are showing Class 32.
Well, I think an interesting and a challenging class, and I don't know that you could get a first and second place to be more opposites, but as far as just quality, that's how we're going to line them up. Man, this heifer that starts the class, she's just so burly. She's stout, she's big-bodied, she's big-boned, she's big-footed. She's not just the most attractive about the shape to her pole or maybe the base of her throat latch there, but it's hard to pack that kind of power and substance and width and bone and just keep them ultra neat up front. So I think she still sets high in her chest floor. She's still clean and attractive about her chest floor. She's got some length on the top side of her neck, but you just got to appreciate the extra substance and width and mass that comes. Sure, she's the heaviest one in here, but she's still, in terms of build, as much my kind. Now, you might think, man, this heifer doesn't look like she belongs here as much in second, but that's a really good heifer, and she is by far the lightest weight and the greenest heifer in this class. But when this young man parked and she gets that head up and gives you the look that she can, I think there's a lot of future in this heifer, and that's why we go second with her. She's not as opened up, and she's not as heavy and mature as the heifers that come in behind her, but she's got a cool skeleton. She's got an ultra good look. She's big in her pin set. That's a neat little heifer. Time will be on her side. She could be a lot of fun as she matures and comes on down the road. The heifer coming in here next, a really long-sided, smooth-made type of female. She's maybe just a little more closed up at her base width and her pin set when you get in behind the cattle, but from the side gives you a really good look. Just need to widen her and open her up from behind. The next heifer, big-bodied, cowy, sound in her structure, just a little plain and a little common for the amount of muscle that she comes with. We either can stouten her and have her front end that way, or maybe make her more attractive and keep the amount of shape that she has, but still from the side here, an easy keep and big centered one that takes a big long stride. The young man's next heifer, she's an attractive female that's smooth and gives you a good look here, not as opened up in her body shape, not as big in her shape of her bone and her foot there as we read her to the surface as the heifer that goes out ahead of her. The next heifer here, just a little plain in her overall makeup, not as attractive and not as feminine up through her front 1/3. And then the young man's heifer that winds out the class, just need to square her up in her pin set and open her up there just and mass her up in her center body, but still a really nice heifer to wind out a competitive class. Well, we're going to keep these like they came in. Young man that's going to start, just a real cowy female that still gives you an attractive look up front. She's high tying, attractive and good looking. I think she's comfortable in terms of her angles and her structure. Just gives you a nice female look here from the side with some extra body and still being attractive and feminine about the shape of her skull and the base of her throat latch. A nice complete type of female here to go ahead and start this class. The young lady's heifer comes in second here, not cooperating, maybe not just giving us the best look, and I know it's getting late and the cattle are getting ready ready to go to tie-outs, but that's a really big centered one. I love her outward shape to her rib and her body. She's got some pin width, just kind of a little harder to read the way that she uses her rear leg, just wanting to fight that halter, not quite as neat about the base of her throat and the shape to her skull. This heifer that comes in third, I think as time goes on and a guy gets her bred and gets a calf inside of her, she could even move up here, and she's got some really good pieces for me today. Just read her out of the back of her chest floor. She's a little flatter and drier in her forerib and her rib shape, but a really sound structured, attractive heifer. Just open up her body compared to those two ahead of her, but that's a really good heifer to go third. And the young man's heifer that's next, a smooth, complete built one that's level in her lines and gives you an attractive look. Just need to push her back in her knee and change the angle of her shoulder and just set her tail head down into her hip a little smoother.
Getting caught up in our Hereford show. Results from Class 32. First place went to Sadie Jo Brown. Second to Harper Ray. Third to Levi Womack. Fourth, Caitlin Keith. Fifth to Rylan Hines. Sixth to Michael Tolhurst. And seventh to Benton Wise. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Results from Class 33. First place went to Will Beckley. Second to Ellen Todd. Third to Marley Granis. And fourth to Luke Grisso. Congratulations to them as well. Now in the ring we have Class 34 of our Hereford show.
Well, a very competitive and deep, high-quality class of Hereford heifers, and all the way down the line, some useful parts and pieces. And I think there's a lot of give and take between these top three, and I think there's just, depending on where you want to sit down and place your preferences, is where you want to line these three up. I think this one does the most neat things here when you get her off from the side. I think she's the neatest and most attractive up front. I will say she wants to run downhill just a little there into the height of her shoulder blade. We could pick her up there and make her a little taller at the point of her blade, but I think once she goes ahead and relaxes and takes off and goes, I think she's still fluid in motion. She remains a little leveler in her top line and her loin. I like her being a little squarer at her hock and a little truer there down to the surface in terms of squareness of hock in relation to this heifer in second. The heifer in second on the stand there, very, very cowy. You got to like that about her. I think for this particular breed represents a lot of what they're looking for to me in motion. She just wants to break her loin and lift her tail head up. I'd like to square her up at her hock and make her just a little truer going away from you, but you really got to appreciate her center body and her cowy build. The really long, attractive, bigger framed heifer comes here in third. She's one that if she's got enough true width to you all the way through, I could see you wanting to make an argument for her, because from the side she gives you a good look. She's really big-footed. I like that about her. She's square. She's just a little closed at her base off both ends. Want to widen her up as time goes on. If that gets better, that female gives you a really nice look from the side. This young lady heifer here at the stand, I think she can run a pretty high up in this particular class, because when she gives you that look right there, that's killer, and I really do like her here at the stand. She gives you an awesome look, so fresh, so feminine up through her throat and her head, big bodied, in motion. She's just too tight and restricted. She's a little smaller in the shape of her foot and her ankle, and just a little tight off both ends. If we could free her up, man, she'd be a challenge, because I think from the side she gives you an awesome look. Just got to free her up for me today. This heifer has a lot of potential down the road. She's green. She's not as far along in her maturity. I think as time goes on and she opens up and gets more to her, get a calf inside of her belly and just balance her underline a little better, I think she gives you a really nice look from the side here. Just got to crack her apart and open her up today, widen her out to make her more competitive. Another cowy one here. It's really big in her center body, got some shape and dimension, just not as attractive in her hip and hind leg. Just maybe doesn't keep all of her pieces held quite as attractively whenever you put her in motion. Another cowy one here, a little frailler in her bone work and her foot shape. Just need to make her a little more stout. I guess stouter at the surface and open her up there from behind, but one that can give you a cowy look from the side. And then a long, high-performing, growthy type of heifer that's high-tying and attractive. Just not enough of her today to be able to rival these up ahead of her in class, but that's a really good class. Let's put our hands together for those Hereford exhibitors.
Congratulations to that class. We're now ready for class number 35 in the ring. We have two entries. Placings on our class 34. First place went to Bo Todd. Second place, Jacob Marksberry. Third place, Levi Womack. Fourth place, Quentin Ray. Fifth place, Marley Granis. Sixth place, Will Beckley. Seventh place, Braylon Taylor. And eighth place, Bendon Weiss. In this class currently, we have Levi Womack and Marley Granis. On deck, we need class number 36, Luke Grisso.
Well, it doesn't take you long to find this young man's heifer that starts this class, one that gives you a really cool look here from this side view. She's attractive, she's up-headed, she's big in her center. I like her foot size and the shape of her feet. She's big there, a female that's still got some width. That's a high-quality heifer. No need to pick a big hole in her right now. That's a lot of good there. The young lady coming in next, a female that's complete in her own right. She's not as opened up in her body, not quite as attractive about her sternum, just not as consistent about the way she hits her rear leg to the surface. Just like to change her in motion to move her up.
Placings on class number 35. First place went to Levi Womack, and second place to Marley Granis. We're now showing class number 36. This is a single entry class. Following this, we will be selecting our champion and reserve champion, Hereford.
Young man brings us a nice single entry. He gets her parked and does a heck of a job showing her off, and she gives you an attractive look up through her front end, and a female that's got some true rib shape and center depth of body there. She's long and level about her hip and tail head. A female that just maybe a little longer toed and shallower heeled and doesn't set her rear leg to the ground quite as square and true, but still a nice female in her own right. Well, let's start by putting our hands together for our Hereford exhibitors with our first and second places. I think this is a nice lineup. The Hereford show's been good, and there's been a lot of depth of quality in some of these classes. I think the future's looking bright for the Kentucky Hereford show. There's a lot of females here as time goes on that are going to be a lot of fun. I do think there is one that just goes ahead and combines structure and power and mass and attractiveness. The young man here with the black cowboy hat, he's going to have your champion, and we'll come get another look for reserve and get you a reserve. But put our hands together one more time for these kiddos that are working hard.
Congratulations to your champion, Hereford Heifer, that went to Levi Womack. Your reserve Hereford Heifer went to Bo Todd. Now we are moving into Class 36A, our Limousin breed.
Really a nice way to start our limousine show, and a young lady's heifer here that comes is just so attractive and neat and smooth. The way she's built, so little and tiny about her throat latch, and the way her neck sets on top of her shoulder, very attractive from that standpoint. And then in motion, very comfortable, very athletic, gives you some rib shape and some true dimension for one that's that attractive and still comes with some width. That's a high quality one here to get us going. And a good cowie one here coming next. It's got some extra width and dimension, just not as attractive and neat, and just doesn't tie her hip and tail head together as attractive as the heifer that starts, not maybe just as clean and feminine about her head shape, but still a big bodied cowie one for this young man.
Results from Class 36A. First place went to Michaela Jo Massey, and second place went to Jackson Kidd. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now coming in the ring, we have Class 36B.
Well, another really competitive class, and really all three heifers bring a lot to the table. I think the one that combines the most positive attributes is this young lady that we start with, really bold and opened up in her center body. I like that, the way she ties out of the back of her chest into her forerib and then the center body back into her flank. A female that gives you a really nice, attractive look here at the stand. I think in motion she's the most collected, the most comfortable, just a high-quality place to start. This heifer coming in next gives up a little bit of weight and a little bit of performance to the heifer that comes in behind her, but I think she's the one that draws the most appropriate lines here from the side. She's high-tying and attractive. She's not as massive bodied, but I think that'll come with some time. I think she's a little truer in terms of her rear leg structure and her hip and hind leg as we ask her to go. Still a high-quality heifer to round out the class, one that'll perk her head up and give you a good look. She's opened up and big in her body, a female that's got enough to her just as far as her hip and hind leg. Just want to set her tail head down into her and just square her up at her hock as she goes away from you. Well, only two classes and not a lot of numbers, but man, the quality was packed here. And let's put our hands together for these Limousin exhibitors real quick. I think both our class winners, and I'm not taking anything away from our seconds, but I think both our class winners are very, very high quality, and I think for this breed represent it very, very well. The young ladies heifer, I'm going to talk them quick because I think they deserve it. This young ladies heifer here, I think it's hard to make them that little and that neat and that tidy up through their neck and chest and face and then still open up with some body. And what's impressive about this female is for one that gives you that fresh and that feminine look from the side here. She's surprisingly wide at her pins and still has some true width from stifle to stifle. That heifer's not just a pretty narrow one. There's still plenty of beef to that one. And I think in motion, she's very comfortable, very attractive the way she ties her lines together. I think that's a really high quality heifer. You could say the heifer that comes out of our second class, maybe there's a little more of her, and sure, she's older and she's more mature and pounds heavier. But man, I just love her center body. I love that swoop to her underline, the way she ties that balance here from the side. She's maybe not quite as neat and tidy about the shape to her skull and right there at her throat latch, but she still picks her head up out of her shoulder, throws her ears forward, and gives you a nice look. I think in motion, she's comfortable. I think she's sound in her structure. She maybe just doesn't tie her top line and loin quite as nicely in motion and not quite as just square and accurate about her rear leg as maybe the heifer out of this first class, but that's a heck of a pair of them, and I'm sure after talking to them that probably gives it up a little bit, but I want you to know and nothing against the seconds, but that's a really, really good pair of heifers for our class winners. We're going to go ahead and go with the young lady out of the first class for champion, the young lady out of the second class for reserve.
Results from Class 36B. First place went to Samantha Pecco. Second to Jackson Kidd. Third to Amanda Purvis. Your grand champion Limousin female went to Michaela Jo Massey. And the reserve Limousin went to Samantha Pecco. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now in the ring we have a black Hereford F1. This is a single entry and will be the division for the F1s.
Well, just a single entry here, so this young lady's going to have a breed champion, but that's a good heifer, and she could stand some competition because she gets her parked and gets her top pulled down and her head up. She gives you a good look of balance here from the side. She's smooth made the way she's built, and I think in motion she's got some foot size. I like the shape to her feet, and she's very attractive when you get her to going. That's just a high quality heifer for this young lady as a single entry. Congratulations to her.
Now coming in the ring, we have Class 38. This is the first class of our percent black Hereford breed.
Just a single entry as we start our percentage black Hereford show. One that from here from the sides got some length, got some extension, got some attractiveness. Maybe we could just tweak and change maybe the shape to her hock and the way her rear leg sets to the ground as far as from a show ring setting, but from a functionality standpoint, still good in that regard. Congratulations to you on a single entry. Another single entry here, and the heifer, when she gets to the stand and is not in motion, can give you a very nice look here, very long and level about her top line and out to her hip, a female that balances here pretty good from the side in motion. I'd like to free her up the way she uses her rear leg as we ask her to get around the ring, but still a nice female for this young lady. Really a big-footed, long-strided, sound-structured type of female that throws her head up out of her shoulder high and gives you an attractive look here from the side. For my likings, we could moderate her just a little in her kind and soften her up, but still one that gives you an attractive look, and you have to appreciate the feet and legs underneath her. Well, another single entry, but another one that gives you a real nice look. She's really neat about her throat and her head, attractive about her front 1/3. She too draws a nice line down her top line. She's good in her rear foot and her rear structure. Maybe not as just opened up in her center rib cage, but maybe time will come with that. But a complete type of heifer for this young lady.
In this class, this is our division for the percentage black Herefords. All of those classes were single entries. So we have from class 38, Ellie Hunt. From class 39, Emily Tabor. From class 49, Easton Hunt. And class 50, Anna Kate McGee. Congratulations to all of the exhibitors in the ring, and our judge will be selecting our percentage black Hereford female.
Well, folks ringside, if you would, put your hands together for our percentage Hereford exhibitors here. Black Hereford. I'm not going to say there's just one out here in this lineup that particularly just stands out and just screams he has to win. I think there's one that's just a little cowier over in her overall build and a little softer and more attractive. The young lady here, she's not cooperating perfect, but that's the highest quality one. She's going to have your champion. And then we'll come down here with the young lady on the end with the baldy heifer for reserve.
Congratulations to Ellie Hunt, your champion percentage black Hereford female, and your reserve percentage black Hereford went to Anna Kate McGee. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now we are going to show our single entry of class 51. This is the black Hereford purebred division.
a good balanced, attractive female to start off our purebred black Herefords, and I think a female like there stops and gives you a good look and balances up very good from the side. In motion, she wants to raise her top and duck her hip and set her rear leg underneath her just a little bit. We could change her in that regard, but still a complete made female that has an attractive look. Another nice single entry here, a female that is just very smooth in her overall design, a female that's got some width and got some mass to her, not as clean and tidy up there through her base of her chest, but still one that can give you a nice look here from the side. Just single entry here, but a sound-footed, long-strided female that's real long from hooks to pins and got some length aside. Not as soft right there through her center cage. Just want to drop her down in her rear flank, but a high-quality single entry for this young lady.
Our purebred black Hereford division also was all single entries. Your Class 51 Heifer went to Emily Tabor. Class 52 also went to Emily Tabor. And Class 53 went to Bailey Miller. Congratulations to those exhibitors.
Let's put our hands together for these class winners here as we pick our champion. I think there's some give and take, and I think they're just depending on where you want to place your preferences, how you might want to do it. I think there's one heifer that's maybe just a little mobile in terms of her structure and just balances and gives a little more attractive eye appeal and look here from the side view. The young lady out of our second class, she's going to actually have your champion, and we'll go back here for reserve.
Congratulations to your black Hereford purebred. Emily Tabor had both the champion and reserve black Hereford purebred. Congratulations to her. Now entering the ring, we have Class 53.
Single entry as we start our AOB show. A very feminine, very attractive, female-like type of heifer here. You get her on the stand, she can give you a good look. She's just a little more upright for me off both ends of her skeleton. We could relax her and free her up as we ask her to go, but no doubt this look she gives you from the side is very high quality.
In Class 53, that ended up being a single entry class. First place went to Austin Pateau. Now in the ring we have Class 54 of our AOB show.
Well, you never know what you're going to get in an AOB division, and would never tell anyone that I'm a Scottish Highlander expert by any means, but I think this one's pretty dang good. She is cool looking. She is good moving. She's got some body. They've got her presented very well. That's a pretty cool little heifer, and not sure where she stacks up against her contemporaries, but I feel like she could sure hold her own. That's a neat little heifer. The young lady's red heifer here coming out next. She's just a little frailer for me. We could just open her up and massen her up, but a very feminine type of heifer that's got some length of side and performance for this young lady. Let's give her a hand for hanging in here.
Results from Class 54. First place went to Michaela Jo Massey, and second place went to Sadie Brown. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now in the ring, we have a single entry for Class 54A.
This young man brings us a nice Gelby heifer here as a single entry in our AOB division. Really a stout featured one that's big in her rib cage. She's opened up and capacious. She's got a lot of shape and dimension. Sure, she's not as attractive up through her head and neck and chest, but taking into consideration her breed division and her makeup is a little more understandable. But that's a good-footed, powerful, constructed female for this young man. Well, if you would please put your hands together for our AOB class winners. Obviously, a lot of difference in makeup of pedigree and their breed specific makeup as far as that goes. So I think it's hard to compare these cattle back and forth to each other. So I guess in my opinion, you start looking at which one can be the most competitive within their respective breed, and then still does it on a high quality, high caliber level here within this group. So I think there is one that to me just puts together the most things that I'm looking for today, and can go on and be very competitive within her specific breed. Young lady with our Scottish Highlander, she's going to have your champion, and we're going to follow up with the young man's red heifer for reserve.
Results from your AOB division. Your champion AOB female went to Michaela Jo Massey, and your reserve AOB went to Tillman DeRosset. Now in the ring, we're showing Class 55. This is the first class of our percent AOB division.
As we start our percent AOB, I think pretty logical class here. Young lady's white flanked heifer gives you a really good attractive look here from the side. She's bold in her body shape. She's got some true width when you get in behind her. You can maybe change just the way she sets her rear foot to the ground, but one that gives you a good look and got plenty to her. High quality heifer for this young lady. The heifer coming next, another one, got some length aside, some length from hooks to pins. A female that's long and level about her top line. I just like to change the way her rear hock and hind foot's built and the way we set her down to the ground, just square her up and make her a little truer about that rear leg.
Results from Class 55. First place went to Grayson Ruber and second place to Shelby Hopperton. Congratulations to those exhibitors. Now in the ring we have Class 56. At the conclusion of this class we will be showing for our percent AOB division.
Big, stout, bold-bodied red heifer to start this class of percentage AOBs, and one that still got a good, clean, attractive front end and feminine about her head and her throat latch. A female, I think, in motion, just a little more collected and comfortable than the heifer that comes in second. The heifer in second, this young lady does a heck of a job getting everything out of this one with the stick. Sure doing everything she can to make my decision hard, but that's a complete made female that's got some body shape, some Cali build to her, some doability, just not as attractive about the way she goes off that rear leg, just not as consistent about the way she sets it down to the ground, but still a good Cali type of heifer. Well, low maintenance, easy keeping type of heifer here this young man has. Got some body shape and got some levelness from hooks to pins. She's a little frailer as you read her down to her bone and her foot size. Maybe not quite as attractive up through the base of her throat latch, but still an easy keeping cow for this young man. Well, if you would, ringside, let's put our hands together for our percentage AOB first and second places. I think when you get these back out here, I think it's a nice lineup. I think it comes down to the two young ladies here that won our first two classes, and I think those are the two highest quality heifers. And I think at the stand it's close, and I think when you set them into motion, it starts to break apart a little quicker for me. The red heifer here, she's not not as blessed with as much hair, but that's a very complete made female that's still attractive. And she's bold and she's stout, and she probably just goes off a little squarer, truer, softer rear leg, and that probably is the difference maker for me. The black heifer, she's very attractive and stout and bold, just want to change the way she uses that rear leg. So with that being said, the young lady with our second class winner, the red heifer here, she's going to be champion. We'll follow up with this young lady for reserve.
Congratulations to Lauren Pettit with your champion percent AOB female, and your reserve champion percent AOB went to Grayson Ruber. Congratulations to them. The heifer that was a single entry, that was from Caden Kephart. Congratulations to him on his single entry in class. Excuse me. Now coming in the ring, we have class 57. This is our commercial class. This is also going to be your division for the commercial breed.
Well, just one class of our commercial heifers, so these are going to be your champion and reserve, and this is a good class to finish up the show, and there's a lot of quality, especially here on this top end. I think this female here, there's just a shot more of her. I think when you read her just in the lower base of her rib cage and just the extra mass that she has down there in her lower body, she's a little bigger at her foot and her bone, just a little more circumference there down at the surface. A female that I think once he picks that chin up and gives you a little more attractive look about her throat latch there, she can give you a real nice line and look of lines from the side here. She's a little closed up when you get in behind her in terms of her pin width and just right there width at her hock, but still functional and sound and attractive here from the side. The young lady's heifer coming next. I love her head and neck. I love her extra femininity that she comes to us with. She too gives you a very good look of balance from the side. To me in motion, she's just a little tighter out of her hock. I'd like to just open her up and actually emphasize her vulva size back there just to make her just a little more attractive from a breeding aspect, but that's a big-bodied, good-looking one that does a lot of nice things. This heifer here, I can tell you on the stand, I probably want to use her to win the class. I think she's one of the stoutest featured ones that still gives you a plenty attractive enough look. She's big in her center, she's wide in from behind. In motion, she's just too tight and restricted for me. If you could free her up just a little off her rear two there, man, I think that one could go ahead and win this class, because at the stand, I think that's a really high quality one. Just got to change the way she uses those rear two for me today. The next heifer here, the next kind of most feminine, big-bodied one to come in next, doesn't tie her lines and just hook everything up quite as nice as those heifers that go out of ahead of her, but some length and performance and some body. And again, she's done a heck of a job all day getting these things stuck. Gives you a good look here. This next female, a lot of power, a lot of mass, not quite as feminine, quite as fresh in her condition and her look here from the side, but got some mass and some power. Just need to clean her up and pretty her up. The heifer coming out next, she's a little too masculine for me. I think we could just refine her everywhere and make her a little more feminine, but of the final duo, she's better in her foot shape. She's better in the way she uses her rear leg. She's stouter featured. The heifer that comes out last, still a nice heifer to wound out with. Just got to change the way she goes off her rear end to be able to move her any higher. Let's give our commercial exhibitors a round of applause.
All right, we're going to announce each animal as they come in. So your champion Angus female was Josie Phillips. Your champion key female went to Laura M. Pettit. Your champion maintainer went to Andrew Ray. Your champion red shorthorn female went to Lane McCall. Your champion Shorthorn Plus went to Brooklyn Thomas. Your champion, Hereford female. No. Your champion, Simmental female, went to Ashlyn Pop. Your champion, percentage Simmental female, went to Josie Phillips. Your champion, Red Angus female, went to Haley Johnson. Your champion, Hereford female, went to Levi Womack. Your champion, Limousin female, went to Michaela Massey. Your champion, Black Hereford percentage female, went to Ellie Hunt. Your champion, purebred Black Hereford, went to Emily Tabor. Your champion AOB female was exhibited by Michaela Jo Massey. And your champion percent AOB female was exhibited by Laura M. Pettit. Congratulations to all of the exhibitors in the ring, please. Oh, we got one more. Commercial, so sorry. Our champion commercial was exhibited by Case Redmond. That was our last class of the day. Please join me in giving all of these kids in the ring right now a round of applause.
Folks, once again, it takes a village to put on this show, so we need to thank some people. First of all, we want to thank the Kentucky Department of Agriculture and Kentucky Farm Bureau. Folks, it takes money, and it takes a lot of people and a lot of effort to put these classes together to get these kids through the ring. So if you would, give those two big parts of this deal a big round of applause tonight. There's also a lot of unsung people. You see the banners that go around this ring, as well as out as far as vendors. Please do business with them. That is how we're able to have this show. This facility's not cheap, but we know it's the best one we can have it in, and we certainly appreciate what the Kentucky Fair and Expo does for us here at this fairgrounds. Now, with that being said, you also need to think, you see all these great young people, and we wonder why agriculture, sometimes we doubt it, but when you see these great young people like we've got around the ring from UK Block and Bridle, Eastern Kentucky Block and Bridle, stepping up and coming in and helping other kids their age. Folks, give them a big round of applause. That's what we're all about in this industry. I'm sure I forgot to thank somebody, but if you see anybody involved with this show, please thank them, because like I said, showing cattle takes a village. It certainly takes one to put this show on. With that, I'm going to say a few words about your judge tonight. Folks, if you've ever opened up a magazine, you've seen Lucky Strike. This guy in the rings won every major show there is, not only with his family, but what's impressive is when he sells cattle and he helps other families win. And that's what this industry is about, is helping each other. Not only that, if you don't know who he's married to, the better half, she is the Commissioner of Agriculture of Oklahoma, Miss Blaine Arthur, right over in the corner. So give her a big round of applause for coming out tonight. Again, give Jared a big round of applause here in a minute. This is not an easy show to do. Tomorrow he'll be doing steers. We ask our steer judge to do double duty because we don't want the same heifer judge doing both shows. So with that, give a big round of applause for your heifer show to judge tonight, Jared Arthur.
Well, thanks, Brent, for the kind words. That might have been a little excessive, he asked me, as far as bragging on us, but we eat this stuff up. We live it. We breathe it. It's what I do every single day. It's what I do with my family. It's what we enjoy doing as a family. There's nothing more fun for me than to evaluate good cattle, and it's whether I'm on a four-wheeler in the middle of a big section of grass looking at baby calves, or if I'm at someone's place with weaned and clipped cell calves, or if I get the opportunity to judge a show. There's nothing more fulfilling for me than to look at good cattle, and that's what I enjoy doing. It's been my passion the better part of my life, and helping good kids and helping good families is the part that gets to come along with all that. So without these great kids and these great families behind all this, there's no way, guys, that I do what I do, and I know there's plenty of guys standing ringside that raise them or sell them or trade them or whatever you have. If it wasn't for these kids and all these families and parents that put the time and the effort in at home, there's no way we could have success. There's no way we could build a business like we have. So let's just put our hands together for all the kids and all the families that make all this possible. I was pumped up whenever Brent gave me the call about coming out and judging this show, and we're actually in the middle of a sale in Lubbock, Texas right now, selling some steers down there, and so I kind of had a pretty big decision to make, to leave my crew hanging down in Texas and come sort through this show, or stay down there and I guess do my real job. And I knew the quality of y'all's state. I knew the quality of this show would be so fulfilling to get the chance to judge it. So I had a tough call to make, but I went ahead and chose to jump on a plane, and I was very fortunate that my wife had a weekend off that she could come out here with me, and we get to spend a little time together. And our lives are pretty crazy at home, so a day or two away from there is always a relief. So I want to thank her for coming along. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I know we got a long day tomorrow, and I know the cattle are getting tired and they're ready to go to tie-outs. Hey, I've been impressed. The cattle have been extremely good. I know there's cattle out here in this ring and cattle that are back there in that barn that are going to go on and win shows and have a great show career and be competitive on national levels, and that's a testament to your state, to just be Kentucky kids out here. There's a lot of quality, a lot of good stock out here in this ring, and it's been fun for me to sort through them. I'm pumped up and fired up about this steer show tomorrow. I know it's going to garner some of the better cattle in the country, and I'm excited to look at them. Like I said, I love looking at good cattle, whether they're mine or somebody else's. So I'm not going to say a whole lot more. I'm not going to talk through each one of them. I thought there was 6, 8, 10 of these things when you get into some of the reserves also that merit getting into your top 5, and so it's going to be a lot of fun to pick a 5. I know standing pictures with all the ones that we're going to end up with, they're going to take good pictures, and they're going to look awesome in a magazine. So that part makes it a lot of fun. But the quality's been great. The showmen have been top notch. Everybody's been respective. I want to thank the show crew and Brent and all the people behind the scenes that make this all happen, and how much I appreciate this opportunity. So if you would, let's put our hands together one more big time, and we'll go get you top 5.
Your grand champion female was the Percent Simmental, exhibited by Josie Phillips. The reserve coming in is the reserve Percent Simmental heifer, and she is exhibited by Anna McCord. Your reserve overall female went to the Key, exhibited by Laura Ann Pettit. Congratulations. The reserve coming in was exhibited by Haley Polly. Your third overall female was exhibited by Michaela Jo Massey, the Limousin Heifer. Your reserve coming in was exhibited by Samantha Pecco. Your fourth overall was exhibited by Josie Phillips from the Angus division. Your reserve Angus Heifer was exhibited by Blaine Smith. Your fifth overall female was your reserve Key Angus or Key female exhibited by Haley Polly. Congratulations to our top 5. Make sure that you go to the picture backdrop in the west wing to get your pictures. Big thank you to the judge. We'll see you all for the open heifer show starting at 8 a.m. here in the same ring.